Hey everybody, I'm Josh, and welcome to another episode of Just Sayin. Thank you. On the show today, we are closing out our back-to-school month with the college years. That's right. While some of you may be getting PTSD from the episode, it's going to be hilarious. It is. It's not going to be sappy at all. Well, it might be at the beginning, but anyway. So let's go ahead and start the show the way we start the show at the beginning of every one of my episodes by asking the same old question: what is Josh drinking? And this should be no shock. Today I'm drinking grape Gatorade. Threw y'all off. PepsiCo, call me, email me. Grape Gatorade, Cool Blue Gatorade, Mountain Dew. Even coupons. After we did the first take of this, producer man asked me why I didn't whisper that like I normally do. Well, I don't remember filming episode 3. It was literally an hour after my mom's funeral. And I came home and I was like, all right, let's work on the show. And he goes, no, look, you go lay down. And I said, no, I want to work on the show and get my mind off of it, and it would banter back and forth, and I was like, okay, one take, even if it's right after I do the open, or even during my open, one take, and then I'll go to bed. And we did the entire episode in one take. It was awesome. Anyway, and so I was watching it back just to make sure it wasn't like stupid, but I heard the whisper, and it creeped me the hell out. So I'm going to try not to do the whisper anymore. It was creepy, and if I scared you off, I'm sorry. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get on with the show. Start the host chat. I have to do something that I meant to do last week, but obviously, and by last week I mean 2 weeks ago, but today because I just posted it. Anyway, I'm just as confused as you are. I am going to go ahead and do it now. It is time for my subscriber Toys for Tots challenge. I took this here Mountain Dew box, made it my Toys for Tots donation box, and I'm proud to announce that I now have 41 subscribers. I know. So it's time to add another $1 into the box. And put it right back up there until it falls off and scares me half to death during the show. Anyway, so I'm so glad, so happy to be back in filming. It's been a bad 2 weeks. For those of you who don't know or didn't see the episode, my mom passed away kind of suddenly, and so I took some time off while producer man made me take time off. And refused to work on the show, which come to find out he was working on the show. He called me today, and we had planned to start working. Let me back up and say this. I literally have no shows written. None at all. 0. And now I have to write and film 2 episodes in 1 week to post next week. So producer man called me this morning at 8 a.m. when he knows I haven't been going to bed since my mom died till 4 a.m. So he calls me at 8 a.m. He said, after a few choice words to him, he said, I'm coming over, we're going to film. I said, what do you mean film? We haven't even started writing the shows. He said, don't worry, I took care of it. So I have no idea what's going to happen today. He says it's stuck to the schedule, and I have to believe him because he's my producer man. So, wish me luck. No, I have read it, and he did stick to the show. Stick to the plan. It's still the birthday one I'm worried about. Anyway, so it will be a good show today. Again, just as a reminder, I'm posting 2 episodes this week. Episodes 4 and 5, and then next week we'll be back on track to do just 1 episode every week, and hopefully I can get caught up in my filming. Hopefully. So anyway, I think he just works on the show to get away from his wife and kid. That's my thought. But whatever. And I want to say one more thing. One more sappy thing here. And then we're going to have fun. I want to say thank you to everybody. It's been only a week since you guys have gotten my the message. And thank you for all of your support, all of your condolences, your everybody I know personally, everybody that I've never met that watched the show and emailed me. Thank you for the condolences, the thoughts, the prayers. It's a really hard time. And I didn't want to get too far into this, but we'll see how deep I go. When my sister and I took my mom in week 1 of 3 bad weeks, Wednesday number 1 of 3 bad Wednesdays in a row, the doctor told us prepare for the worst, call your family. And I came home that night, as I told you guys, at like 2:30 in the morning, called producer man, and he came over, blah, blah, blah. And I had a big explosion then. And I really haven't been emotional since my mom passed. And I think it's because I had the big blow up already, like, because of my medical background for the last... Even before we took her in that day, I knew something was going on, that something wasn't right. But I couldn't put my finger on it. And my mom isn't one. She could stab herself in the hand with a knife or chop half her finger off. Say, oh, I don't need to go get stitches. It'll be fine. I'll just put a Band-Aid on it. It's triple antibiotic. And then 2 days later, when it's infected, says, I should have gone to the hospital like you suggested. Everybody in the medical field is a horrible patient. I am just a big baby. I'd never plan to get sick again because when I get sick, I want my mommy. Which I know she'll be here. Anyway. So, I totally forgot what I was saying. But yeah, I've had a couple private moments, and I've had some public ones at work. Unintentionally, one day, it was 2 days after her funeral. I knew they were short-staffed. I knew I couldn't get anyone to cover my shift, and they wouldn't be able to, so I worked it. And even went in there and told the lunch servers, when I normally get to serve the tables in the bar, I said, if anyone sits there, just take them. I don't want to deal with people. And so... I kind of had moments then, but it was 2 days after the funeral. A few days after that, I was working a night shift, and these 2 ladies came in, and they were awesome. They hadn't seen each other in a while, so they sat there for like an hour and a half, and they were kind of my only certain customers for a while. And so I'd stop, and because I'm not the one to just stand around, I have to be doing something. And so I'd go over there, and we'd just start randomly talking, tell jokes, whatever. And so they were they were lovely women. They were getting ready to leave. And one of them, I take their credit card slips back to them, and one of them pulls out this pamphlet, and we get pamphlets. People leave us religious pamphlets all the time. Sometimes as the tip, sometimes with the tip. And so she pulls this one out, and she goes, has anyone ever given you a ticket to heaven? And I just broke down. And she goes, oh my God, what'd I say? What'd I do? And I'm like, no. I said, I'm sorry. I said, my mom just passed away a few days ago, and this is like my second shift back, and you just caught me off guard. And I said, I'm sorry. And then, God love her. Then she pulls out this other pamphlet that says, the gift of peace. And she goes, then you need the gift of peace. Read that one. Okay. I'm sorry I haven't actually read it yet. It's in my server book. Thank you, though. And then the other time I lost it at work was just a couple days ago. It was a night shift, and one of my mom's coworkers from a long time ago like a long time ago. I don't even think I was in high school yet. Came into the restaurant, and I kind of like was looking at her for a little bit just to make sure it was her, and I asked her her name. She told me her name, and she's like, "How are your parents doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my mom passed away." She didn't know, and I felt horrible. And I didn't cry because my mom passed away. I cried because she didn't know that my mom had passed away. And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't even. We were just going through her phone and her Facebook, and your name just didn't pop into my head. And I'm so sorry." And she's like, "Don't worry about it. You were stressed out. You're fine." And yeah. But other than that, even producer man knows I try not to focus on it. Because I don't want it to engulf my life. But it's like my boss said, I have to create a new normal. And so that's just kind of what I'm doing, and I don't know how to do that because I hate change. And when I'm stressed out and stressed out like this, I normally go to my mom. And so I can still go to my mom, but she can't verbally tell me to snap out of it and deal with it. So I just have to imagine her saying it to me with her finger in my face. But anyway, and as I was filming these takes, the story popped into my head. And so I think if I think of a story for the remainder of the season, if I think of a story of my mom, I'm just going to share it with you, just so you guys get to know kind of who she was. And it was Bad Wednesday number 1. And it was the day after it was Thursday, but that week, it was like maybe 11 in the morning or something. And again, my mom had no idea what happened, didn't even know she was in the hospital, doesn't remember the day before at all. She thought she was just sleeping. And I went to the hospital, let my sister go home, change, shower, come back. And as I'm sitting there, the doctor comes in. He's like, "Hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. Is this what's going on? How you feeling?" And when people have had altered mental statuses, you always ask them the simple questions like, "What's the date? Do you know where you're at? Who's the president?" And they should be able to answer those questions, except like the older they get, they may not, like especially if they have dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, they may still think Reagan's president. You can't really go by that. Or people in nursing homes, you can't ask them what day of the week it is because every day is the same for them, just like it was for all of us during COVID. We just lost track of what day it was. And so you kind of think of other questions to ask. But he was asking those questions, and this was my mom. Like, she was just... This was more my mom extreme because of what she had just gone through the day before and how hard it was on her body. And she's kind of still out of it, but coming to it. And so the doctor's asking her these questions. Where are you at? The hospital? Which one? She says it. What day is it? Well, she thinks it's Wednesday because she doesn't remember Wednesday. And he goes, "Who's the president?" She goes, without missing a beat, she looks at him and says, "Dipshit." And he looks right at her and he goes, "Well, there's a lot of those dipshits. Which one?" And I just, like, that story just popped into my head. And so I just thought I'd have to share it. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of my mom. Like, she was Republican. But that was something, like, I knew and she knew we never would agree on it. And so we never talked about my politics. My dad and I will talk about politics until my mom says stop arguing. So now I just know not to talk to my dad about politics because my mom's not there to stop us. But anyway, so that's just a story, just a story about who she was and just things that she would say or do. Anyway, it's time to continue with the show, and it's time for the sketch that I have to give credit to producer man for. It's time to ask the question, is that too far? And for those of you who have never seen the sketch, here's how it works. I have a list of about 20 jokes, and I'm going to begin reading them. After I read a joke, start over. Sorry, it's been a while since I've read this. In case you've never seen the sketch, here's how it works. I have a list of about 20 jokes, and I have a dark sense of humor, and I never know what really crosses that line. So I have a member of the FCC sitting right over there. After I read a joke, I'm going to ask him, is that too far? If you hear this noise, that means the joke has gone too far. We have to stop the sketch immediately. And I'm a loser. Could be after the first joke, second joke, third joke, 9th joke, 19th joke. But after the 20th, I don't care because I don't have any more jokes. And that would make for a really long 2-minute sketch. Anyway. So without further ado, hold on tight. Here we go. If I can get there we go. The toy company Mattel recently posted a picture on Instagram of Barbie wearing a pro-gay marriage t-shirt. Barbie, or as lesbians call her, Barb. Is that too far? Oh, no, we're good. He's laughing at that one. In honor of Pride Month, Burger King has introduced a rainbow bun, and in honor of lesbians, they've released the chicken fingers. Is that too far? No, his fingers kind of hovering over that button. But it's good so far. A group in Georgia hosted an event this week called Come Meet a Black Person, or as it's more commonly known, jury duty. Is that too far? No. Got the thumbs up on that one. The first black woman to visit every country has written a new book, which brings up another rousing edition of... Damn! And again, here's the setup. The first black woman to visit every country has written a book, has written a book. It's called, Uh-oh, It's Like This Everywhere. Damn! Just kidding. It's called, Why Does Everyone Keep Telling Me to Leave? Damn! Just kidding. It's called All the Places I Couldn't Find Hair Care Products. Damn! Tampax recently revealed... I'm sorry, was that too far? Any of those? No, okay. Tampax. This is turning into a bad sketch. Tampax recently released that the demand for their product has arisen in recent years, which is exciting because they're normally in the red. Oh no! That joke means, or that sound means that joke went just a little too far. And so don't worry, it's time for more not so dirty jokes in this week's edition of Another Cheesy Monologue. So I'm going to be honest. Producer Man, like I said, wrote the show, but he did leave the monologue jokes for me, Trey. So I went to latenightlol.com, and the site is down. And this is something we were planning to do anyway, starting next month. So why not just start it a week before, aka an episode before, because I'm going to post to end of one month, beginning of the next month, right now. Anyway, it's so confusing. Anyway, so we thought it would be fun for the rest of the season. We are going to look back at some of my favorite jokes in honor of my 100th episode coming up. So, without further ado, let's take a look back to jokes I've had. I said in season 4, here we go. The topics can be about anything, but they're always outdated. Here we go. A restaurant chain. Sorry, I thought I could do something off script, but I couldn't. The restaurant chain Joe's Crab Shack is under fire after its location in Colorado Springs accidentally served alcohol to a bunch of young children, which explains why the karaoke bar next door had a lot of requests for Frozen. It looks like John Boehner will be the new Speaker of the House. He is the son of a bartender, one of 12 children who grew up in a 2-room home with just one bathroom. He worked his way through school and became the first person in his family to graduate from college. Then, sadly, he fell into the wrong crowd and wound up in Congress. Sad day. 2 parents in Canada are weaning their children off of technology by banning any device invented after 1986. The children describe their parents as a total Donkey Kong who should go fax themselves. U.S. Weekly released their new cover story on Donald Trump's children and promised it would, quote, contain everything you didn't know about the Trump kids, end quote. Said Trump, even their names? It's time now for my joke of the week. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, Kim Kardashian said she fell into a, quote unquote, deep depression because of her divorce. Then Oprah said she fell into a deep depression because she was interviewing Kim Kardashian. Tom Cruise made his first public comments about his divorce from Katie Holmes and said, quote, I didn't see it coming, end quote. Apparently, she hid the divorce papers on top of the refrigerator. Can't see that high. According to a new study, the larger the age difference between married couples, the more likely they are to get divorced. Said gold diggers, duh. The number one movie in the country is Taken 2, making $50 million. In this sequel, Liam Neeson's ex-wife is taken hostage. Divorced dads are calling it the feel-good film of the year. And finally, Taco Bell says serving alcohol is an attempt to attract a very specific demographic, divorced dads with weekend custody. Great marketing. Great marketing. So it's time to begin the time of year where everyone wishes they could forget. And some of them do because of the pictures, because of what's in the pictures you'll see in this next segment. What's wrong here? My computer's not wanting to work right, but now it is, making me look like an idiot. So we are going to take a look at some party fouls. I do have to say there are two, including the first one, that do not go along with the college crowd, but they're still funny regardless. I want to say this first picture is staged, but knowing how much young kids can drink these days, I wouldn't be surprised if the mom and grandma passed out first. Just saying. Here's the next one. Now, fun fact, and this is just a random piece of knowledge I, for some odd reason, know, but when you cheers or make a toast with someone, technically, you're not supposed to clank the glasses together. You're just supposed to kind of do a nod like that. Like, just point it up in the air. You're not supposed to clank the glasses together. Don't know how it all started, but that's how it started. You're definitely not supposed to clank the glasses this hard. Here's the next one. I have no idea what this guy is trying to accomplish. But if he's trying to accomplish the fact that he's showing people his forehead doesn't have a mouth, he's nailing it. But I don't know other than that. Here's the next one. I don't know whether I'm grossed out by this picture or if I'm impressed by the lady who's got an entire fist in her mouth. I'm sure hoping that someone she knows, because the look on her face is like she doesn't know him. And the look on his face is, holy crap, she can do it. It's probably one of those like, hey, open your mouth. Let's see if I can fit my fist in your mouth. No, I can't. Now, this caption on the picture that I couldn't fit on the screen says, can you find whose 21st birthday it was? I'll let you take a look before I give you the answer. Could you find the drunk? Here's the next one. Now, I have to say, ladies, I'm impressed with flexibility. Not a turn on for me. This is definitely not a turn on, but I just want to say, if you are going to try and show your flexibility while at a bar, make sure you're wearing pants. and not just a skirt. But thank you for wearing underwear. Here's the next one, and this is the other picture I was talking about that's not really about a college party, but who in their right mind would do this to their little child at their child's birthday party? And I love the face of the mother. And the guy pushing the child's head in is like, ha 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 ha. That is evil. Evil, I say. Here's the next one. Now, I'm assuming the guy in the back of the picture knows the girl in the back of the picture who's making out with another random dude because of the face the guy in the back is making while staring at the chick making out with the guy. But you know what happens when you assume something? You make an ass out of you and me like the guy in this picture. That's all I'm saying. He partied a little too hard. That's what we call a party pooper. Just popped into my head. Well, anyway, it's time to move on. And for those of you who are going to college and have never been in college before, there are things you pick up while you're in college. Like, hey, I don't have a stove in my room. How am I going to make this? Well, it's time for me to do my part as a show host and give you some life lessons in this week's edition of You're a Hack. That's right. It's time where we open up my handy-dandy DIY, do-it-yourself, well, that's what DIY stands for, but some little hacks in life to get through your college years. And here we go. Here's the first one. Now, this goes not just for college. Don't you hate it when you're making something? It's time you're cooking, and you have a small microwave. You cannot fit two bowls in next to each other. So you have to do one at a time. Not anymore. Take a coffee cup, flip it upside down, and you got room for two. How's that? It's pretty nifty. Here's the next one, and I do not recommend this, but what college kid ever irons their own clothes? I mean, seriously. So if you have an iron at home and you're obviously not using it, here's another use for it: to warm up a slice of pizza. It was frozen, honey, but I'm on a date. Could you let me start over. Could you imagine being on a date with somebody, going to their dorm, and they're standing there trying to make a whole frozen pizza with an iron and a blow dryer? Dinner will be about 40 minutes, hon. Unless you don't mind it cold, then we're looking about 20. Anyway, here's the next one, and this comes in handy for bachelors like me, who doesn't have all the utensils I need to have until I need them and realize I don't have them. So if you need a spoon and you're stirring something thin like soup or broth, just take a fork, stab a fork through a styrofoam cup, and you got a spoon. Producer man makes fun of me for the way I say spoon. He gave him the California howdy. Anyway, here's the next one. Now, if you share a dorm, luckily when I went to my 4-year college, I didn't have to share a room, and I had a corner room, so it was double the size, and I had it all to myself. Because normally you got the two walls, one bed. No, I had a triangle. bedroom. It was awesome. By myself. Anyway, so I had plenty of room. But for those of you who don't have a lot of room, one thing you can do so that you can maybe organize your stuff a little bit better is get one of those cleaning product hanging door things to put all your shampoo and stuff in. Hang it on the back of your door. Takes up one less drawer. Maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on how much stuff you have. Here's the next one. Now, most dorms have a microwave, but you don't always have bowls. So, if you're ever in this predicament, feel free to make your nacho cheese in your coffee pot. But make sure to take out the coffee grinds. Might make a little chunky and disgusting nachos. But, whatevs. Maybe you're looking for that extra caffeine. Who knows? Maybe that's a new trend now. Maybe I just found a way to make $1 bazillion by adding coffee to food. Anyway, here's the next one. If you have a small kitchen like me, or in your dormette, you have a little kitchenette in your dorm, not your dormette. Open up a drawer, put in a cutting board, and you got another little counter space. How fun is that? I don't cook anyway. Now, this kind of goes along with the ironing thing. What college kid does their own laundry? So what better way to use a washer than as a cooler? Duh. Parents come over, shut the lid. Never know a thing. Because your mom's been doing all your laundry, so she knows you're not using it. So why should she look in it? Here's the next one. Again, another use for a coffee pot when you're making noodles. It's actually pretty clever because as the noodles cook, they melt and they will go, it's pretty clever. I wouldn't do it, but it's pretty clever. And finally, here's the last hack, and it took me a minute to realize what the hack was until I figured out that probably pre-Bluetooth era, or unless you don't have Bluetooth on your computer, cut a solo cup, because what college kid doesn't have a solo cup? Cut a solo cup in half, put it over the speakers, and you've got surround sound. Isn't that clever? Learn something new on this show? Never. Unless I do that sketch, that segment. So this one really has nothing to do with college kids, except that some do get arrested for partying too hard or whatever the case may be. So I thought it'd be fun to look at some hilarious police blotters in this week's edition of Here Come the Popo. Here's the first one. A 38-year-old Cole Avenue man reported that his home was invaded on September 9th. The man said that he was sitting home alone masturbating and watching a pornographic movie when a man came down into his basement holding a gun and started to videotape him. The man said that before he left, the intruder fed his dog some mushrooms and the dog died. Or maybe you did and made the whole thing up. Or hallucinated it. Whatever. Here's the next one. Dispatch, report of a Swanson chicken pot pie running on East Clay Street. Weird. Here's the next one. Theft. A woman in the 1900 block of the 129th Lane Northeast reported October 15th that someone must have stolen her mail because she did not receive any birthday cards from any of her friends. Well, maybe they just don't like you, you stupid biatch. Maybe that's their way of finally telling you to screw off. Here's the next one. A man came to the sheriff's department to, quote, find out how to legally kill a person who was harassing him. Tell him exactly how to kill someone. Let him go kill someone. And then be like, we know it was you because we told you how to do it. Duh. Anyway. Here's the next one. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I love squirrels. I will break for squirrels. And there's a reason behind it. A sentimental reason. We had a dog. Shadow. Who I mentioned in the last episodes up there wiggling her butt. Loves squirrels. And the neighbor had a squirrel feeder in his tree, and the squirrel would come down, and literally for 20 minutes they would play back and forth. Like the squirrel would come down, my dog would creep up, and then the squirrel would run up, and my dog would go away. And I mean, for 20 minutes they would do this. Well, eventually the squirrel got hit by a car and was dead out in the middle of the street, and she was really good about staying in her yard. But all of a sudden, like, she went across the street, and my dad went, "Shadow!" And I'm like, no. She went out, picked up the squirrel with her mouth, obviously not her paws, came back into the yard, set it down, and laid next to it. I've loved squirrels ever since. I will break for squirrels, people. Anyway, here's the next one, but this police officer doesn't. Here's the next one. A man reported that a squirrel was running in circles on Davis Drive and was not sure if it was sick or had been hit by a car. An officer responded and as he drove on the street, he ran over the squirrel. Case closed. Here's the next one. California, Fullerton. Police are looking for a man who tried to rob a Wendy's while wearing a plastic bag over his head. Police Lieutenant Tom Basham told Orange County Register that the man pulled up to the drive-thru window, pointed a handgun at the server, and demanded money. The server closed the window and walked away. Bye, Felicia. You know that's what the person was like. Bye, Felicia. Fool! Here's the next one. A woman along the 11,500 block of 37th Avenue reported a dispute with her neighbor/boyfriend, who is refusing to bring her a casserole. Really? Here's the next one. Shots were heard in the area of the Newton Falls shooting range. I'd rather respond to this Swanson chicken pot pie running down the street. Here's the next. Oh, no, that's the same one. Here's the next one. In Fairfield, a man who lives in Fairfield filed a complaint with police on Sunday about someone ringing his doorbell and leaving a photocopy of their buttocks on his front step. The complainant, Edgar Butts, told police the incident has happened several times in the past 2 weeks. And then before that, the last 74 years that he's been alive. I mean, seriously, how could you not? How could you not? And finally, the 4700 block of Portside Drive, Vermilion, a man who put icy hot on his woman's vibrator, divorce pending. And that will do it for the show this week until I post my next one in about 10 minutes. Anyway, so be sure to watch both of them because it's going to be funny. It is. We're starting off with... Wrong button. My birthday month! That's right. Just a reminder of some upcoming changes. This is starting, next episode is my birthday month. It's going to be my favorite things throughout the entire month. But the third week of September would have been my mom's 70th birthday, so we were going to honor my mom that week. I believe it's the 18th. And then on the 25th, it's my 40th birthday show. That producer man is writing, and I'm really nervous. Anyway. What? Oh, you're done writing it? And I should be nervous. Great. Anyway. If you think there's something funny I should see and share on the show, be sure to send it to me. There's my show email address. Also, follow me on Twitter with your hashtag #SmilePowerChallenge stories with the hashtag, at JoshFight930. And don't forget to follow me on TikTok for behind-the-scenes looks, Taser Versus videos, and exclusive TikTok contests. Because you never know, most talk show hosts give out prizes for their birthday. Also, while you have a second, please like, comment, and get the notifications anytime I post one of my episodes. And definitely please click that subscribe button, because for every new subscriber I get all season long, I am donating $1 to Toys for Tots up to $60, which would make 99 subscribers. If I get 61 or more, that would set my goal. That would beat my goal of 100, and I will donate $100 to Toys for Tots. So please click subscribe. And that will do it for me this week. Be sure to stay healthy, stay safe, stop the hate, love your parents, and tell them that every time you can. Until next week, everybody, that is all I am saying. Because I want to get that set up. There we go. Until next week, everybody, that's all I'm saying.